Hi there. Welcome to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel, and we're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. This is a special version of Community Hotline called The Pulse. In the show tonight, we're not going to talk with the nonprofits in the community like we normally do. Normally we connect with nonprofits and try to show you what it is they're doing in the community and focus on all the good works that they are providing. But tonight we're going to talk about another nonprofit, and that's MetroEast itself. Tonight with me here to talk about MetroEast and KZME Radio, I have my coworker and friend, Peter Goodmanson. Welcome.
Hi, Monica. I'm great to be here.
Thank you. And Peter, you are a producer and trainer here at MetroEast.
Absolutely, yeah. I work in the back with all the other folks there, and we tend to do a lot of classes that focus on new upcoming technologies, let people check out cameras, check out the studio space, and really just learn a whole lot about media, maybe things they don't know. And
there's a lot of new things on the horizon. We'll talk a little bit about that today. I will talk about some of the things that the volunteers are learning, some of the new training, which you're right in the middle of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're definitely on the cusp of some really great stuff coming out. We've already released some new things that I'll talk about in some upcoming segments here, but there's just a lot to talk about.
It's fun. It's good stuff here. Now, another faction of our organization here is KZME Radio, as you know. MetroEast is the television side of it, KZME is the radio side, but there's been a lot going on there too. We have a lot of events that go on that are part of the community in not only East County, but specifically in Portland area. A lot of great music events. I know one of the big things they have is a new partnership with Burgerville. And Burgerville has been a great partner. They have, I believe on the 13th of September, they had an event there. That was their last one, and Burgerville kind of helped sponsor it. Have you had a chance to go to those yet?
I haven't been myself, but I've seen some footage from it, and the concerts look like a ton of fun.
They're fun. I mean, you're right there in a Burgerville. People are eating, and they're, and some of the money that you spend on your food there goes to help KZME. And then you get music by local artists, and you wouldn't think that a Burgerville would be a great place for listening to music, but it's really, really fun.
It helps the food go down.
It helps the food go down. There you go. It's a great atmosphere. But they are going to have another one in, I believe, December, probably around the 13th or so, and that will be, the music will be kind of a swing jazz music.
Ooh.
So that's going to be fun. So maybe you can try to put that on your calendar.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love jazz swing.
Yeah. Another thing that they do is at the Secret Society venue, on the first Friday of every month, KZME kind of curates that program, and the money that they raise there, part of it goes to Secret Society, part goes to KZME. So that's a really fun venue and a fun place to go to listen to music. Before we go on, and also one other thing I want to talk about is that there is going to be an increase in the power that we have to the KZME. Right now, there are parts of East County and parts of Portland where you don't get very good reception, and it's just not really good. The coverage isn't very good.
Right.
But it's going to be increasing by about four or five fold. So
I'm so glad. Sometimes I'm driving, it just goes in and out, and I'm just like, come on.
Yeah. So that's going to be fixed. I'm not sure exactly how long that's going to take, but look for that in the next few months.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it.
So in the meantime, before we go on to talk a little bit more about things going on here at MetroEast, I think we should take a look at some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that's going on at one of the Burgerville events. You want to see that?
Yeah,
see what you've been missing?
I've heard there's a great video we put together. So
well, let's take a look at it now.
Great.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brown, host of Swingin' Sounds with Dr. Brown on KZME. Welcome to KZME Night on Hawthorne, Burgerville.
Big drum.
Yes.
Hey, I'm Aline, and I am thrilled to be at the Hawthorne for Burgerville, supporting KZME. Everyone should come out. Not today, next time.
Welcome to KZME Night at Hawthorne, Burgerville. We've had one fantastic round of music already, and here's number 2. Please join me in welcoming Animal Eyes.
to KZME, awesome station. Check it out, 107.1 FM, KZME.
Hi, this is Zach from Foxy Lemon. This is KZME at Burgerville. Woo!
Music where you live. Foxy Lemon, by the way, check it out.
Fun stuff. See what you missed?
Nothing quite like Portland musicians. I love the accordion in that band. That's
Hey,
great.
I know you don't see that just everywhere, do you? But there is a lot of great music here in Portland.
Absolutely, and I think they're going to continue doing concerts like this in different venues for KZME.
Yeah. There's a lot to look forward to, and if people want to get more information about what concerts either we're promoting or benefiting us, or that we have, we're partnering with organizations on, you can go to the KZME website and check it out.
Absolutely.
Now, another facet of MetroEast is our youth media department. We have a very vibrant, I guess you could say, youth media department. From the time I started here, I've been here 6 years now, from the time I started to now, it has grown by leaps and bounds, and it's amazing. In fact, we're no longer going to people to ask them if we can be part of their curriculum. They are coming to us. And you've been smack down in the middle of that, haven't you, Peter?
That's right. So in addition to being a trainer and a producer here at MetroEast, I'm also part of the Get Real team. That's the name for the youth media department that we have
Real
here.
with a R-E-E-L.
Yeah, it's kind of punny.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had so many different projects going on this past summer. One of the first things that we started doing was we partnered with Fur Ridge High School, and a group of students there produced a feature called The Hot Mess. And it was an interesting narrative about kind of teens dealing with tough choices, pregnancy and things like that. And it was very, very powerful. I actually went to a screening with you. I think you were there, right?
Yeah, I was at the screening. It was great. What I remember hearing was that originally the school, the teachers and parents or whoever it was that had first come up with this idea had it in their mind this was going to be a piece about community, and they had more of a thing of a talking heads kind of thing. But the kids were asked what they wanted to do to talk about community, and their idea was totally different. And I think it was probably much more compelling than it would have been just to hear people like us sitting around talking about what community means.
Absolutely. I mean, they had a lot of creative control in that process. When we go out and work with students, we really ask them, what is important to you? What kind of shots do you want to get? How do you want to have what's the tone of this particular scene? And we work with them in pre-production and during production and even in post in order to really get the message right and how they intended on doing it.
I talked with some of the kids after the screening, and one of the things they said was that the feeling of family and community among the group that worked together was really important to them. That here was kids, a group of kids that normally didn't associate with each other at school. They were from different groups and different cliques or what have you, but working together on this project really. They became friends and they became comrades, and it was pretty powerful just to see that how you can build a community that way out of people that maybe otherwise would never have even spoken to each other.
Right, they were sitting together at the screening, talking and laughing together, and we actually put together a behind the scenes look at that as well that you can actually watch on our YouTube channel. Too.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's a good one. Yeah, it's a great program. So what are some of the other things that you're doing with the youth media program?
Well, we actually have just done several screenings, one of which was we finished a series of 11 vignettes for Hollydale Elementary in Gresham, and basically what we did was took a crew out there, and the Get Real team basically coached elementary school kids to show you the right and the wrong way to do things in regards to how you should act at school.
Oh, okay.
So these were things like, what do you do when you're waiting in line at the bus stop?
You don't kick the person in front of you and pull their hair.
Well, that might be the bad way of doing things.
Okay,
so the
gotcha.
good way, we would definitely have fun with that.
Yeah.
So the way we edited it together, we had fun music and sound effects and stuff, and the kids just had a ton of fun.
So the kids were actually in the videos.
Absolutely. They were thrilled that they could just be bad on camera, and the adults were telling them it's okay.
Yeah, hey, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and just fun for them to be involved in the whole process and see actually how that works, I imagine would be exciting for kids.
It was, definitely. There were definitely some kids who were bright stars out there. They're going to have a bright future.
Cool. What about, I know you did something with the library. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so we actually partnered with Multnomah County Libraries, and we wanted to have a summer camp that focused on storytelling. So what we did was, as part of the Reading is Grand program, we developed a camp that's aimed at grandparents and their grandchildren. We wanted to get those two people together in the same spot, and then we wanted to have them compare stories about growing up or living in Portland or just struggles that they've had. So it was a really fascinating way to get just different generations together and use technology in interesting ways. They learned about media together, and they told fascinating stories.
Imagine it was a good way to bring them a little closer to each other too. I mean, I would think just from a personal perspective that might have been a really special thing to do with your grandparents, you know? I think that's great. So we have a little bit of a roll-in, some video from that. I think this would probably be as good a time as any to take a look at that.
Yeah, it's great footage.
Okay,
let's watch that.
Let's take a look at it now.
Here we are at the library camp screening. We're all very excited to show the movies, and people are filtering into the room now. We're going to eat popcorn, we're going to sit back, and we're going to enjoy an afternoon of movies.
I'm excited just to see all the videos and what we accomplished.
This was one of the highlights of our summer. So here we are, we have our family with us, we're excited for everybody to be here and love the red carpet, it's a great touch.
I don't like entertaining people. I like people laughing at something I'm doing or something I'm saying.
Okay. Very nice. Good job.
That looks like it was really fun. That was at the North Portland Library, is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, a lot of people turned out for that. We were really happy with the turnout.
Good.
A lot of grandparents and their families.
So the production, or the whole camp was with North Portland Libraries and also Midland Branch in, like,
Yes,
on
yeah.
122nd?
Yeah, we had we kind of combined both into one camp at the end,
Nice.
but we had a lot of participation, and we're
Good.
just really happy with the way that they're integrating with MetroEast.
Good, that's wonderful. So yeah, we hope to continue with those youth media programs. They're very popular, and I think they're growing great guns. So, you know, there's another production that we have coming up that I want to talk a little bit about, and that also has to do with youth and other members of the community. But it's what we've called in the past our Holiday Open Studio production. Right. It's Holiday Greetings to the Community is what we're referring to it as now. But I know you've been involved in it, Peter, but we have musical performances from high school and middle school and elementary school choirs, bands, orchestras, really fun stuff, doing holiday performances. And then in between, instead of commercials, because we're non-commercial, we have greetings to the community from local area nonprofits. I think it's probably one of my most fun events or productions that we do all year long. How do you feel about that? Do you enjoy doing that?
Oh, I love it. You know, it's a chance that we can close the facility down for a week and just dedicate the entire staff to this huge thing. So many different kids coming in from schools. You know, there are choirs in here, jazz bands, string orchestras.
There's a lot of talent.
There is a ton of talent in this room. I'm surprised the roof is still on.
We do a lot of eating, a lot of singing, it's really fun. And we had an open house recently. You were here for that.
Yep.
And that was a huge deal. We had, I don't know, how many people do you think we had here? 150 people?
At least.
Yeah.
It seems like I saw a new face every time I looked up.
I know, it was great. We had a chance to showcase our gear and give the community the opportunity to check us out. Did you come in ride on the Radical Surf machine? Well,
I didn't actually do that. That's one thing that I wish I had tried. Did you ride yourself?
I did. I fell off twice.
Yeah.
And Sharon and Martin Stoser, who are two of our volunteers in the back, they both got on that. So yeah, I figured if they could do it, I could do it, and they showed me up. But but it was really great fun. So we do have a little video, behind the scenes video from that Mike Canty, one of our producers and our equipment room guy, he put that together. So we ought to take a look at that. All right.
Shout out! MetroEast, do it yourself TV. On live.
I'm watching MetroEast. I'm watching MetroEast.
Hi, I'm Kieran Larson, and you just so happen to be watching MetroEast Community Media.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bob, and I have a show here on MetroEast called Highway to Health with Dr. Bob. MetroEast provides the facility for you to come down and create your own show. Tell the community your message. We'll see you on TV.
You are watching MetroEast.
Bueno, soy Carlos. Bienvenidos a MetroEast.
Konnichiwa.
Namaste, Carlos Gilen.
MetroEast provides the tools and training to make media accessible to the entire community.
So come to MetroEast and let your voice be heard.
Producing your own television show is absolutely amazing. You gotta check these guys out. MetroEast Community Media, serving the entire community.
Hi, I'm Devin. Hi, I'm Spencer.
I'm Alan.
And I'm Cindy. And thank you to MetroEast, you get to meet our family in high definition.
Woo-hoo! MetroEast, where your TV dreams can come true.
Welcome to MetroEast, and you're never too old to glam it up.
It's priceless.
Valuable. Community media lets you tell your story to fit your needs.
My favorite thing about community media is it's got to be the people's shows.
I think my favorite one is Karaoke Oli.
Oh, Karaoke Oli's a good one.
We sing live karaoke on TV for an hour.
Hamster versus Monster.
Nap Time with Kittens.
Community media brings programming like Chambers of Commerce, the Faith Community.
Psycho Chicken.
Do you have any UFO shows?
No, I wish we did.
I would like one of those too.
Yeah.
Children's programs, high school sporting events, and of course the ubiquitous city council meetings.
Only when we hear from folks in their own voices with their own stories can we truly connect.
Whether you're filming your cat, tipping your friend's band, or capturing great Auntie Gertie McCourty's 110th birthday, we'll teach you the skills to get the perfect shot. With lights, great audio gear, and a professional camera package, all you need to do is take the workshop, explore your creativity.
MetroEast.org.
Have you ever wanted to create a TV show of your own? Come check out the basic editing class at MetroEast. Our trainers will give you the skills you need to flex your creative muscles. Using our state-of-the-art IMAX and Final Cut Pro 10, you can work with your own videos, add graphics and music, and even drop in cool special effects like green screen and slow motion. The best part? No experience is required. All ages and skill levels are welcome. Find out more on our website at metroeast.org.
Hi, welcome back to Community Hotline. This is the Pulse version of Community Hotline where we talk about things going on at MetroEast Community Media. And with me now, I have the CEO of MetroEast, Robert Brading. Thanks for being here.
You bet, my pleasure.
It's nice to have you here. Not that I don't get to see you all the time, but our guests don't usually have that pleasure. So the biggest thing that's happened this year at MetroEast, what would you say that is?
Oh, no doubt, the transition to HD, to high definition. We now have 2 new HD channels with the prospect of all of our channels going HD in the relatively near future.
That's a big deal.
It's a huge deal, and actually we are, to the best of our knowledge, The first community television facility in the country to have HD channels through the franchise.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
Nice.
no,
That,
it's a huge
gold star
deal.
on our page.
Yes, well, and it's also a gold star for the Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission.
With whom we could not have done this.
Right.
How does the MHCRC, as
Yes,
we call it,
right.
how does that fit into this whole HD picture?
They were responsible for negotiating the franchise that allowed us to get the HD channels. And it's a collaboration between the City of Portland and the 5 jurisdictions that are served by MetroEast, which are the 4 cities out here and the county.
Gresham,
Wood
Village,
Fairview, Troutdale, Wood Village, and the county. And we greatly benefit from, well, everybody benefits from this because it creates a larger pool, it gives you more leverage in the negotiations. From our regional point of view, from our kind of east side point of view, we benefited because we had access to what many folks consider the best cable regulatory staff in the country.
They are pretty phenomenal.
They're terrific, and they did a fabulous job in negotiating with Comcast. Comcast has been a good partner in this process, but without that kind of support, without the leverage of the whole commission, all the territory that's involved in the commission, and that really great commission staff and fabulous. I cannot say enough about the commissioners themselves, who are all volunteers and work in one of the most arcane, challenging fields that you can imagine. I think we don't appreciate enough how much it takes people like that to make things work. I compare it to driving on the roads. We never think about our roads until
the potholes hit.
There's a pothole and boom, you hit
Right,
the pothole.
right.
And we never think about our sewers until, you know, and it's the same thing with the whole arena of cable regulation, that if we didn't have folks like this doing such great work, we wouldn't have such great assets in our community. And these folks, and it's not something we see.
And the commission is volunteer.
They're all volunteers, yeah.
That is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and many of them have been at this for well over a decade now.
Wow. So back to HD, what channels do we have here at MetroEast that are in HD, and how do you get them? Are they the regular channels we've always watched?
Well, if you have HD with Comcast now, they're not available on the Frontier system. They're only available on the Comcast system at this point. And so if you have an HD box and you turn to channel 21, which is our public access channel, our flagship channel, it will automatically flip you now with one of the new boxes to 321, which is the HD channel.
Like this show, for
Right,
example.
exactly, yeah. So, yes. And 330, which would be 30 on the standard definition, but HD will be 330, which is the government channel.
So what do we see on the government channels for those who may not have the pleasure of watching those
who
on
are
a regular
not
basis?
fascinated by government
yes.
meetings? We cover primarily government meetings, so we cover the jurisdictions we serve, Multnomah County, and provide some other programming. But it's I like to refer to it as the local C-SPAN. That we're the folks who cover your government meetings, and I am always surprised at how many folks talk about what they've seen on those channels, and how many counselors and mayors over my time here at MetroEast have come up and said, you know, we really appreciate it because I get feedback, and it's always in a grocery store. I don't know what it is, but they always say—
Because you're in line and you're a captive audience, I don't know.
And people come up and say, oh, I really liked what you did, or I think you're, you're right.
Something else.
Yeah, but the counselors and mayors appreciate that feedback, and they also appreciate the opportunity to be seen by the public in an unfiltered way. There's not, there's no abbreviation. It's the full thing. If you want to watch it, it's all there. You can see it.
That's transparency in government.
Right.
If you ever,
exactly.
if you want transparency in government, that's it. Watching those meetings, because they don't hide anything. They're not edited.
No,
it's a live feed, right?
Never. It's live, and when they're taped, they go out just like they did when they were live. There's no editing.
Yeah, it's actually, I think, a really great service to be able to provide that for people. And it is actually amazing how many people do watch that.
Well, they do watch, and I know—
if we don't have them on there, we hear about it.
Well, we do. And also former Mayor Tollifer in Troutdale always told stories about how they'd be discussing something and somebody would be watching, and he or she would come down to the council meeting that night because they wanted to say something. They wanted to have an opportunity to talk to that issue.
That's civic engagement right there at its best, isn't it?
Yeah.
So about the HD, so the government channels are in high definition. What if you don't have an HD box? So you can still watch the channels?
You're still going to get it on your
Standard?
SD channel, on your standard definition channel. So no, that was actually an important part of the negotiation, was to make sure that when we made the transition to HD, that we would still be available in standard definition. And that's a fairly complex needle to thread.
Right.
So that was a big project. So
Yes.
how did that affect the studio space here? I mean, how? Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about this with Peter later, but you know, as far as the conversion itself, that was a big change of equipment, and you were actually shut down for a while.
We were closed for almost a month. We tore out, essentially broke down, took out all the old equipment out of Studio A, and put in all the new equipment. We also had to completely change our cablecast system, which involved a major overhaul of our IT equipment and network and all of that. We now have a storage area network that handles almost everything in terms of memory storage. And then, and what it was a little bit of a surprise, that generated so much heat that we had to make alterations to the HVAC system.
So we didn't all.
So there are a lot of consequences that sometimes you can't anticipate. But it was a major effort. Our technical folks did a great job, and Peter will do a great job at talking about why it's, you know, what the impact of that's been. Yeah.
It had to cost a lot of money.
It did. It cost a lot of money.
Yeah. So you gave up your paycheck or what? How did that get paid for? I don't think that would have covered it, would it?
It cost a little more,
okay.
you know. Yeah. So again, it came through the Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission and the franchise. The franchise has capital funding that comes in kind of various pots to us. And we had anticipated this transition for several years now, so we had been squirreling money away so that when we came to this point, we would have adequate funding. And then the Regulatory Commission also provided some assistance to this. And Comcast has financial obligations as well. It's kind of like there's a dividing line between what's MetroEast's and what's Comcast, and there were significant expenses on the Comcast side to make this work too.
Wow, it is, like you said, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
What comes next? I mean, it seems like we've been, you know, there's all these changes and things that have been happening here at MetroEast. I mean, what comes next?
I think what comes next is the transition of the other channels to HD, which will be staggered, but will be everything's in place to make that happen, and so we'll be moving forward with that. And we internally have one significant project left, and that's Studio B, which is the robotic camera studio, and that is not HD, but it will be.
It will be.
That's the big project for this year.
So when people come here, because we teach people how to make their own television shows, they can now come here. They can videotape their shows, or they can either do them live or tape them in high definition, put them out there. So and the cameras that we have that people check out in the community, those are also in high definition.
Yes, everything here is in HD except Studio B, and that's coming.
Wow.
So
that's a big deal. What else do we need to know about high def? Is there anything else that?
I just think that it's important for folks to understand that, you know, that having community channels be treated like our broadcast channels, like ESPN, like C-SPAN, whatever it is, that needs to be available in HD, because what people see on the screen determines whether they're going to watch it or not very often. And if it's inferior to what they're used to, they won't watch it. So this was a very important move for us to maintain the quality that our community deserves, that they want, and so that we continue to provide a high quality service that we have over the years.
We just keep getting better, don't
Yeah.
we? And
Yeah,
how
I
long,
hope
how
so.
long have we been around now? We were coming
We
up
will
on,
be celebrating our 30th anniversary next year.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
Well, I hope we have a
very cool.
big shindig.
We'll do some fun stuff.
Okay,
I'm sure.
good.
I know you'll be helping with
I'll
that.
do my best. I like to be part of the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Rob, very much for being here tonight.
You bet.
And we'll talk a little bit more about HD with Peter when he comes back to join me. And before I let you go, we'll be before we talk to our next guest, we'll be showing some video, I believe, from the NAB.
National Association of Broadcasters.
Yes. They had all sorts of like really cool gear and fun toys.
Well,
Did you go to that?
I went to NAB, and of course NAB is I think it may be, well, it's one of the 2 or 3 biggest shows in Las Vegas. They take over the entire convention center, and if you've seen the convention center, it seems like it's bigger than the Sahara Desert.
Wow.
Goes
on and on and on,
it goes on and on and on, and you can't really see everything in the 4 days it's open.
Wow.
But we go there to try and find good deals on equipment and make sure that we're buying equipment that's going to work for us and work for the folks who work with us.
Good. Well, I think we have a little bit of roll in from some of the stuff that's going on there. I haven't seen this
Cool.
yet, so I'm
Oh,
anxious to
okay.
see what kind of
I haven't either.
what kind of good stuff we have. So let's take a look at that.
Last spring, I took a trip to NAB 2013, the world's largest electronic media show. Where do you go to find a conference that big? Where else but sunny Las Vegas? NAB takes place in the Las Vegas Convention Center, a 3.2 million square foot structure that practically demands a good pair of walking shoes. For the show, the convention center was filled to the brim with cool gadgets, cutting-edge technology, and industry professionals. One of the big themes this year was 4K video. Pocket-sized cameras, big screen displays, and editing software are now all focused on what the industry calls ultra high definition. Personally, I'm holding out for super mega ultra HD in a few years. But what really blew me away was all of the flying cameras. Yes, they have those. RC helicopters hovered around the crowds to attract attention to booths. It was really exciting for me to see such sophisticated technology being crammed into the tiniest little devices. Action cameras like the GoPro have inspired me to go out and make content in new and creative ways. So MetroEast staff and I got a chance to try out the TriCaster 8000, a multi-camera production system that has a huge amount of features and customization options. As you may have heard, we ended up loving it and decided to install one in Studio A. It's being used right now. So what's next for MetroEast? One of our goals is to get modern, future-proof equipment that producers can use to make compelling HD programming. As a trainer, I want to see people get excited and inspired about producing videos, just like I was at NAB. Check out MetroEast.org and click on Training to get a list of this month's classes. Thanks for watching Training Update.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
really,
that's some
great.
pretty cool
Yes.
stuff. That looks like fun.
Yeah,
But it'd
it
been
is.
exhausting.
It is.
Yeah. Before I let you go, Rob, I wanted to ask you about the low power FM station that you're talking about. Can you give me a little bit about that? I keep hearing LPFM, but I don't really understand what that's all about.
Low power FM, there's a window coming open in next week, actually, if the federal government reopens, to apply for low power FM licenses. They were not available until a recent decision by the Federal Communications Commission that has opened the opportunity for urban organizations, nonprofit organizations, to apply for a low power FM license. Low power FM licenses cover somewhere between 5 and 10 miles, so they don't have a big reach. It makes them very local, which is of course what MetroEast is very local. Right. But gives folks the opportunity to talk about what's going on in their neighborhoods and to do some very local, important work about letting people know what's happening in their neighborhoods.
This is radio.
This is radio. This is radio. This is broadcast radio with a very limited reach, so that it but it does give people, I know there's a group in Rockwood who are organizing to apply for one, and they'll be able to talk about the issues that have such a big impact on Rockwood. And of course, there's a lot of attention rightly being focused on Rockwood right now, and that will gives folks an opportunity to help strengthen their community and give them a tool to communicate with folks.
Good.
So yeah, no, it's a great opportunity, and we're helped a lot of organizations work with this and do the preliminary, the political work that had to take place for that to happen. And it's a great opportunity, and it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Really?
Probably, yeah.
So if this all works out and we become involved in this, maybe you can come back later and tell us how that all worked out.
I would be thrilled to do
okay.
that, yes.
I hope it does.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, no problem. And maybe I'll see you at work tomorrow. In the meantime, we have a few announcements we're going to take a look at, and then we'll be back again with Peter. Stay with us.
Community media is priceless.
Valuable. Community media lets you tell your story to fit your needs.
My favorite thing about community media is it's got to be the people's shows.
I think my favorite one is Karaoke Oli.
Oh, Karaoke Oli's a good one.
We sing live karaoke on TV for an hour.
Hamster versus Monster.
Nap Time with Kittens.
Community media brings programming like Chambers of Commerce, the Faith Community.
Psycho Chicken.
Do you have any UFO shows?
No, I wish we did.
I would like one of those too.
Yeah.
Children's programs, high school sporting events, and of course, the ubiquitous city council meetings.
Only when we hear from folks in their own voices with their own stories can we truly connect.
Whether you're filming your cat, tipping your friend's band, or capturing great Auntie Gertie McCourty's 110th birthday, we'll teach you the skills to get the perfect shot. With lights, great audio gear, and a professional camera package, all you need to do is take the workshop, explore your creativity. MetroEast.org.
Welcome back, Peter. Welcome back.
Glad to be back.
Glad you stayed with us here. So I had a very interesting conversation with Robert Brading about the conversion to high definition here at Metro East. You being on the front ranks as one of the trainers and working with all the volunteers, how have the volunteers responded to the changes in our equipment, and how has that affected the training that you do?
Well, I've got to say that volunteers absolutely love the direction that we're heading with all this stuff. Because transitioning to HD for them means that they get a bunch of new toys to play with.
And everybody loves new toys, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and as a trainer, I get to play with the toys as well, too. I actually brought out one of the cameras here that we're using in the Get Real youth department right now.
Oh, these are for the youth. These cameras, these are pretty slick.
Yeah, so these cameras are fully HD. They're very modern. They've got all of the things you'd expect out of a professional or prosumer camera.
All the bells and whistles.
Yeah, it's kind of like the more buttons and settings you see on the outside of it, the better camera it's going to be. If you ever just go to a brick and mortar store and look at cameras there, typically it's just going to be a tiny little chrome thing with a touch screen. And while people are going to buy those for consumer use, it's really not very nice to use that on a production because you want to be able to get to those settings really quickly and make changes. But anyway, this camera is kind of similar to the style that we're going for producers, public access clients. We're going to be upgrading those cameras soon too. We're using an older model of Panasonic for producers currently. And while they do actually record in HD, we really want some newer media. Right now, you may recognize this tape right here.
Ah, yes.
Yes, the DV cam, digital magnetic tape. For a while, we've been using these, for example, in Studio B, Studio A, until it was upgraded. And even some of the cameras had recorded to tape. But now that we've got brand new cameras coming in, every year at NAB, you saw the roll-in, there's always new stuff.
Right.
And you can actually record video to just the tiniest little card.
So we went from
I'll just kind of put that right there.
that to that.
Absolutely. And this can even store more than the tape could.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
In high definition. So we're heading in such an exciting direction here.
Everything gets smaller, doesn't it?
It's going to get smaller to a certain extent. Like I said, you have to have a certain amount of buttons and gadgets and things on the body of it.
That's a pretty slick-looking camera there. So these are the kids get to use these.
Yeah, we're actually just handing these to the kids. We're saying we trust you enough that we want you to be hands-on with it. Please don't drop it, but
after a little bit of training, I assume.
Right, we give them basically enough training so that they can, do a basic recording, and we are really intending on teaching them storytelling skills, and we're heading in that direction for public access classes as well. In the past, we've been focused mainly on technical training.
Right.
Here's where the button is, and that's what it does.
This is how to make a video, but.
Right, but as it turns out, that kind of training can be a little bit dry. So if we teach people how to tell stories, if we teach people how to create an interesting narrative, how to make just imagery pop, then we're going to have interesting content no matter what equipment we're using. But the equipment certainly doesn't hurt either.
So instead of just creating a video, you're going to create better video.
Absolutely.
Something better, something more interesting to watch, something more compelling.
Right.
Hopefully.
Right.
Oh, but that's the goal anyway.
We want people to tell stories.
Wow.
And we've got HD coming up here. We've got some channels that we're now introduced, as you and Rob were just talking about. So this is just a really exciting time for us. And I've often got the question, why is HD important to us?
Right. I mean, who cares? Do people care? Do people care if their shows are in HD? Is that important?
I think people really do care.
Yeah.
As Rob was saying, people are getting accustomed to seeing that at home with other networks on television. And if they go to MetroEast and they just see standard definition in a tiny little box, they're going to say, well, what's up with that?
Yeah. You kind of get spoiled. You watch something that's really clear and really pops, like you said, on your TV screen, and then you switch to the old style. It isn't so good anymore, is it?
Right.
So so we're keeping up with that. How do the volunteers do in the training? Is it? I mean, obviously they like the new gear, but is it more difficult to use?
If anything, the gear is easier to use than it ever has been.
Really?
Yeah. A while ago we switched from linear editing to non-linear, working on a computer-based system, and that jump alone saved people tons and tons of time and just smacking their head against the wall trying to get their edit together. Now we've got new software that we're using. Final Cut Pro 10 makes it takes a lot of the headache out of it.
Nice.
People who have never edited, they come in and they take my class for Final Cut Pro 10. And they say, boy, if I had known it was this easy this whole time, I would have become a video producer a long time ago.
Really? That's great. Well, I know I was looking at that footage from the NAB conference, and they showed the TriCaster there, and Tony with his TriCaster sign. That's been a huge deal in the Studio A. People are liking using that, aren't they?
Right. We back in July we introduced the TriCaster to Studio A. So we're working with a TriCaster 8000. It sounds really neat
futuristic.
That way. Exactly. And if you look at the board itself, it actually is pretty futuristic.
Yeah,
there was a glimpse of it.
It looks great. Yeah.
It's so colorful.
I know.
And so in the class, we don't teach you to use every single one of those buttons. So if you look at that and say, boy, I can't do that, then don't think of it that way. Think of it that we're going to teach you from the ground up. We have people in the class who are just pure beginners who come in, and we want to make the class accessible for them as well as people who have already had experience working switchers and things in the past as well.
Right.
But the TriCaster to us, obviously we were big fans. Tony was in the video waving the sign, and we've seen demonstrations of it. We really like a lot of the features that it can offer. Not only staff programs, but also community producers can do some really cool stuff too.
Give me an example of something you can do with a TriCaster that you couldn't do before.
Well, the TriCaster has a technology called virtual sets, and what that allows you to do is to you've probably seen behind the scenes documentaries on movies where it turns out actors who seem like they're in a boat with a tiger are actually on a green screen set.
Right.
Well, the virtual sets use that same green screen technology, but they allow for multiple elements to be put in the foreground and the background and move them around the screen so that you can basically create this environment that it looks like your talent is sitting at a table in front of your audience with a fantastic room in the background, but really it's just all virtually done.
Wow.
And
pretty impressive.
And you can do virtual camera moves, and it's a lot of fun. So, when you're starting a show, we're going to teach you the easy way to do it, and you're going to work up to that point where you can use virtual sets and things.
So just learn the basics, but we have people here at MetroEast to help everyone along the way as they become more proficient and want to try a little tougher. What's your favorite part of all the new gear we've gotten?
Boy, I think my favorite part is just seeing people's eyes light up when I tell them, hey, we've got a new toy in, you want to check it out, try it out for a little bit, and they just say, whoa, I didn't realize it was so small, and they pick it up and they record a video with a little East Side Stories camera, or they use the new software and find just the perfect effect that they've always wanted to use.
That's great.
And it's just the excitement that really inspires me, like it was in the whirlwind.
So did we get any of those helicopter cameras? Or
I don't think there are any in here yet.
No.
Maybe down the pipeline.
Is that on your wish list?
It definitely is on my wish list. Flying cameras, why not?
Well, before I let you go, anything else we need to know about HD or the new equipment? Anything else you want to share with us, Peter?
Well, I would say that when you think about coming to MetroEast to take classes, you're going to be producing entirely in HD. Even though our cameras can do standard definition, they're set by default to high definition. Even though our editing systems can use standard, start in high definition and work down from there if you have to. Like if you want to burn a DVD, you do that in standard definition. Not everyone has a Blu-ray player yet, right? But we've got the equipment here for you to start something that looks great, and we want you to just continue to learn storytelling skills and help
video.
Add some artistic into the technical skills.
And we want something fun to put on our channels. So get out there and do something awesome, and we'll share it with the world.
Yeah, and something else that not a lot of people realize is that on our channels, you don't have to have a perfect 30-minute, 60-minute program.
Right.
You can have a 4-minute, 30-second program if you want.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about that is that, one, it's easier to edit. You don't want to start out on something big.
Yeah, don't overwhelm yourself.
Right. Two, it's small enough that we can fit it into the cracks in between other larger programs.
We don't have commercials. We don't have commercials, so that's the perfect place to put it in between other regularly scheduled programming.
So as a result, it'll get played more times that way.
Yeah, that's perfect way to end the show. Thanks so much for Peter. Thank you very much, Peter, for being on here tonight. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
It's been fun, so I hope you've enjoyed finding out about all the wonderful things going on here at MetroEast. We have a great time here, and we hope you join us. Do go to our website, check it out, find out all about all the wonderful things we have going on, and we have a new website coming up shortly, too, so that'll have even more good information.
Looking forward to it.
Good. I'm Monica Weitzel. Thanks for watching the Pulse version of Community Hotline.
see sculpture often as a still life, as a number of elements that compose a picture. And that comes very much from my background in painting. But I would also say my background in the performing arts plays a huge part, because I make an object with the intent that the staging implies a certain kind of relationship between the objects and a sense of animation between the objects. I spent my second year of graduate school in Rome and was very taken by the urban design that enfolded sculpture into the streetscape. That experience I've taken with me ever since, and was particularly important for me in this project here in Gresham, was how one would be able to see the sculptures at a distance along the street, how the sculptures really become part of the street experience. It started when I visited the Gresham Historical Society. I saw a large photograph of the Miller Kidder hardware store with this cacophony of tools. And it also started with an image of the Gresham brass band, marching brass band, in the early part of the century. But I realized that what I really wanted to focus were the tools of the trade in the arts, and that a community such as Gresham that has this background would be very appreciative of the tools of the trade in any profession. I got a lot of different images off the internet. I printed them out, I cut them out, and took parts and pieces of each of these tools and reconfigured them to create these quirky kind of characters. I didn't want a literal representation of what each tool meant. I wanted to take very identifiable aspects of each of these tools, but also to kind of switch out parts and pieces so that they become reinvented. The Gresham Center for the Arts committee, I think they were quite open to what I wanted to bring, but once it became clear to me that I wanted to use these very specific sources of inspiration, I could see that it was all clicking in their minds too. We did meet several times to really do some fine-tuning, to really address the issues of color. A good designer works very carefully with the client. And in a design tradition, this is not a compromise. This is a dialogue, and to understand fully what the site is about, what the community experience with the site is about. What's important for me is that people come up and they see the work and they bring to it their experience.